Hack is a series that I have immense nostalgia for. I was first introduced to the series by my uncle around the time of the first game, Hack Infection's release in North America. I've been a dedicated fan ever since, even playing an online 2D fan-made version of the original series' MMO all the way back in 2004. Because the franchise does such a fantastic job of simulating an MMO, it's safe to say that I'm so invested and interested in the MMO genre thanks to this franchise. The games have a distinct anime-like style, so if you like flamboyant and over-exaggerated characters, then this is definitely the franchise for you. Throughout the years, CyberConnect has released various installments to the franchise, including a few movies, several anime series, novels, manga, and a sequel to the original saga. While I may not view all of these installments as favorably as the original saga, the sequel .hack GU holds a special place in my heart for how well of a job it does in both branching out while simultaneously staying true to the original story. Needless to say, when they released the remaster of the GU saga on PS4 and Steam to very positive reviews, I was ecstatic to jump back into the world again. Especially since this remaster indicates that Namco Bandai is testing the waters to see how well the franchise will sell globally. I'm hoping for another installment in the near future. While I hope it will be an actual online game I'm able to play with friends, I'd be more than happy for a remaster of the original saga or with another game installment to the franchise. For the time being, we'll focus on the HD remaster of the GU saga. The story of .hack GU takes place in 2017, 7 years after the original saga and a sequel to the original saga's hit MMO. One thing I love about the franchise is how well they execute the world building. There are various forums you can access in-game that include NPCs you can run into inside the towns, or even some of the areas you visit. There's a news portion that develops the world the game takes place in, with some serious Nostradamus-esque predictions. Seriously guys, check some of it out and it's interesting to see how much of it they got right. And even an official site that gives lore on the MMO the game takes place in. Another thing the game does exceptionally well is the music. I can easily say that the .hack franchise has some of the best OSTs out there, from their anime OSTs to the game soundtracks for their various installments in either saga. Unfortunately, I won't be playing much of it throughout the video series, since they seem to be pretty protective over their copyright, so certain songs or OSTs are pretty difficult to find online. With the remaster comes many changes to the game. There's now a cheat mode when starting a specific volume that instantly maxes out your stats. This was implemented mostly for people that just want to enjoy the story without any excess grinding. They've added a retry feature that appears whenever you die in order to help save you from a game over and potentially wasting game progress by dropping you back into the fight that killed you. Hopefully you'll get them this time. Hit stops have been reduced so you can no longer get caught in an operation. XP gains have been increased, making it faster to reach the max level of a given volume. Skaith's standard shot bullet speed has been increased, along with a stun gauge added above the enemy in avatar battles. They've rebalanced enemy HP, attack power, charge speed, and more in the avatar battles. Weapon proficiency has been increased, making it faster to level all of your different weapon types. The amount of damage enemies receive has been increased in order to make the battle tempo more efficient. One of the most notable changes being that you're now able to hold just under 1,000 Shin Spheres, instead of being capped out at 99. When using certain items outside of combat, you no longer have to go back into the item menu after using one of them on yourself or a party member. If you have a stack of that item, feel free to spam away to your heart's content. There are quite a few other changes, but those are the most notable by far. Overall, I feel like it helps speed up the momentum or pace of individual battles, and drastically reduces the time you spend aimlessly grinding mobs for levels. However, I did notice that if you don't do the side quests immediately when you get them, there's a good chance you'll severely outlevel the initial areas whenever you decide to do those. Also, if you do some side grinding early on, you'll definitely outlevel those areas, and trivializing the quest areas like that makes it more boring or tedious to do so. I personally think they went a little overboard with how much they nerfed individual mobs. The chance of dying in a given battle is pretty low unless you intentionally limit yourself by not using items or upgrading your equipment throughout the game. I don't remember the games being too hard back in the day, and I think they've actually tipped the scales and made the game far too easy. While I do have a few issues with the port, mostly around the apparent frame rate problems in certain cinematics and under certain conditions, it's mostly a pretty solid port for the PC. On some occasions, when zoning into an area, town, or after a battle, you can have a noticeable drop in frame rate. It only lasts for a few seconds at its worst, but it is something that can wear on you if you're really into graphics. Speaking of graphics, they did a fantastic job with upgrading the graphics from the old PS2 quality. While they didn't touch up on the character or area models, which I would prefer if they didn't since it keeps the style of the PS2 games, they did a solid job of making it look good in 1080p, so I gotta give them credit for that. I highly recommend playing the games with a controller since the games were very much originally designed for playing with one, but if you decide to play with the keyboard and mouse, I recommend going through the key bindings and sorting those out how you're most comfortable playing. I personally prefer to play with a controller, and the games are just as fun as I remember them being when I was younger. Overall, .hack GU Last Recode is a fantastic title. I highly recommend picking it up and trying it out whether you're a longtime fan like myself or someone just being introduced to the series. There are various installments that prelude this series, but it still works as a standalone title without that information. If you want to be brought up to speed on the events that take place before this saga, they even included something called the Terminal Disc that will bring you up to speed in an interesting way. I'm currently using this title to introduce my girlfriend to .hack, and she's loving it so far. I can't recommend this game enough for those looking for an action RPG. It's currently available on Steam and PS4, and I think it's worth checking out.